Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door. Ooh.
Yeah, talk about the spooky stuff.
Yeah. This is our Romance Gone Wrong section. This is our series for the month of love.
Yes. As dubbed February. I don't know why it's month of love, but other than Valentine's Day, why they picked February, I'm sure there's reasons.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah. So all month we're going to be talking about, well, specifically we're going to talk about sex.
Yeah. And like, why are you doing that? Or do that a bunch. Or your penis is gone.
We just want to warn you about what this thing they call sex is. Today we're talking about dangerous sex. We are talking about why having sex is dangerous. At least when you're in a horror movie.
Yeah. Because usually you die. So
Yes.
there you go.
Yeah, we already told you that if you have premarital sex, you will die in our episode on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That was
so
the
does
lesson.
Mean Girls. Mean Girls does it too.
Yes, you will get an STD and you will die.
Yeah.
That's what society has told us. And who are we to say?
Who are we to deny that that's not facts?
Yeah. So this episode is here to remind you, don't have sex.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Put those rings on and abstain.
Yes, we are talking about dangerous and deadly genitalia and contraceptives.
Yeah. And let me tell you, was it a time?
Yeah, it's scary out there, folks. So wear protection. Oh wait, it'll bite your huge penis off. Maybe just don't have sex. Don't do it. Sorry, buds.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah, so we are gonna talk. I'm sure you guys have all been wondering when are these ladies gonna tackle the film Teeth? We've already done Monstrous Women. Of course, we're gonna talk about Teeth, but we threw a nice little random one in there for you guys that you've never seen. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I extra guarantee you've never seen it. And I don't know if we're recommending it.
Yeah, we'll see when we get down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we watched Teeth and Killer Condom, which is a foreign film from the 90s. And it was a time.
It is a whole ride that gives you a very nice message at the end, but you have to really be in for the ride.
Yeah.
To get to it. And yeah. I'll have a lot to say later on it. It's a whole situation.
Yeah.
That I can never unsee.
Yeah. Well, everyone sit down in your desk because class is in session.
Sex ed with the ghouls next door.
Sex ed with the ghouls next door. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Here in Florida, we're not in Florida, but that's where I grew up. And in Florida, we were taught, just don't have sex. And if you have sex, you'll get an STD and you'll die. And that's it. Do not look at Florida's teenage pregnancy and STD rates, though, because that'll tell you that they're wrong.
Well, yeah, because, they're not abstaining. They're definitely doing it. They just don't have any information to understand the things that they're doing.
No.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Florida has some of the highest STD rates. Not just in teenagers, but also grown adults, like old people who never got the talk correctly and don't know how to use condoms and only think that that's for pregnancy. So we have a lot of retirement communities that are just rampant with syphilis.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, well, I can't have kids, so why do
I don't need this? But it's like, oh, did you know that, there's also very bad sexually transmitted diseases that can bring you to your untimely death really quick.
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel I get it. You don't got much time left. You want to just live. But you also don't want to have syphilis when everything else already hurts. That's how I feel on that end. But I had a regular, actually, at, what is it called?
A not
sex
Florida
ed.
School.
Yeah, I went to outside of Philly public school. And they essentially started teaching us sex ed in 5th grade. I don't remember any of it, but I remember the day that they told us we were going to learn about it, it was a big deal. Because they showed us one movie that told it to us, for the teacher, so that they didn't have to do it. We just watched this movie.
That's good.
Yeah. And I'd say the majority of my sex education was taught through weird, low-budget films that the teachers would put on for us so that my old, gross, like... Or actually, no, not gross, just, like, old man, cute gym teacher didn't have to, like, teach us about penises.
And vaginas.
And I'm honestly kind of thankful about that because he was like this funny old man who would yell, shower time, like all goofy when it was time to come in from gym. And I just feel like it would be really uncomfortable if he had to tell me how sex worked. I just feel like I'd be really upset if that man had to do that for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really happy that that's not how it went down. But we mostly didn't even just watch like what the reproductive organs were, but it was mostly like about toxic relationships and like how to know you're in an abusive relationship, which is definitely positive for kids to learn. But they were always like Lifetime style abusive relationships where it's like, I bought that tank top just for you to wear for me. And like, he's like yelling at her for wearing a tank top. And it's definitely real, but it was like Lifetime level.
Was that the one with
intensity.
Topanga in the abusive relationship?
Very likely. I honestly am not sure. But yeah, it was mostly videos. I never received a talk from my mom. It was more so, hey, they taught you that in school, right? Yeah. We're good.
Yep.
And then we just never talked about it again, other than like, don't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Was the talk. Or if I did, it would be okay because we would handle it. And I was like, nice. Thanks, Mom. I'm 15 and I don't know what that means, but cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, my mom mimicked what my school was teaching me, which is abstinence till I die. Like, I had a promise ring. It was the South. You're not allowed. It was just don't do it. It wasn't what happens if, or this is how you do it safely. It was just don't do it. Abstinence was crazy. They had this, there was like an entire week that was dedicated to scaring you with sex. Like, you were meant to leave terrified of it. They showed us awful pictures of chlamydia and essentially just like instructed you that if you had sex one time, this was going to happen to you. They would try to like show us how fast STDs can work. And they did this like weird game and like how everyone would catch it. And then they tried this one where they're like, everyone who's a virgin, go to the left side of the room. Everyone who's not a virgin, go to the right side of the room. And I remember my friend Olivia was really upset with that because she was like, what does that have to do with anything? That doesn't define you. And so she was like a virgin at the time, but was going to defiantly like go to the non-virgin side. And I secretly, she did not know at the time, had lost my virginity fairly recently at that time. And so I was going to go to the virgin side because I didn't want anyone to know. Because I literally like, this is personal for everyone to hear about Gabe, but I lost my virginity. And then the next day was like the abstinence till you die class, where it was like, you could die because you had sex. And I was like, oh, this is what a panic attack is.
Oh, fun. No.
Yeah. So that's fun. That's what Florida does to you. A number of things is dangerous in Florida, including their sex education.
Yeah, I just waited till like all of the stuff it said was pretty much just like, oh, you're old now, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like everyone wasn't new to it. So no one was like, oh God, you had sex? Like it was like, you didn't have sex yet? And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I did though now. I'm 18. What's up, world? Well, that's where I was at with it, so.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was a good time. I was scared of it. I don't know, like I read all the things and watched the videos, but I still had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. I was like, what is a penis? I don't know. I don't even know what my own thing looks like. I don't want to. Yeah. I feel like it probably does have teeth and it's evil and I don't want it to be here. And that's how I felt until I realized it wasn't that bad, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listener, we'd love to hear about what you were taught, because I think it'd be interesting to know how many people were taught abstinence versus safe sex, because like one of my college essays was writing about how safe sex should be taught in schools and not abstinence. I had to do this whole report about it. But yeah, write us in, tell us about it, because we want to know how everyone's learning. North, south, east, west, what's happening?
I am optimistic that it's a little better, but I doubt it is at the same time. If anything, I feel like we have a shift somewhat backwards.
Yeah.
So I worry about our kids. Yeah. So parents, you just got to really have that awkward talk and don't think that school's going to do everything for you.
Yep.
It's not their job. entirely. It's yours as a parent, because the school doesn't get to be like, oh, that's my kid in 20 years. You do.
Yeah.
That is your child. So teach your kids about sex if you don't want them to get pregnant or like STDs at a young age.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any knowledge of it.
I would love to say that this episode is going to be good to show your kids like, oh, safe sex, but it's not going to help.
It's not.
This is definitely an abstinence win episode by accident because it's really scary and we're going to tell you all about it.
After this.
Abstinence till I die.
Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Yeah, facts. Still facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
Today we're talking about Vagina Dentata. What a wonderful phrase.
Vagina Dentata ain't no passing craze.
It means no penis for the rest of your days. It's a problem-free penectomy. Vagina Dentata. Woo!
Yeah.
I bet you guys are like, what the heck is a vagina dentata? Well, listen up. This is what it is. The vagina dentata is essentially the mouth of hell, a terrifying symbol of a woman as a devil's gateway. The vagina dentata also points to the duplicitous nature of women who promises paradise in order to ensnare her victims. And you're like, what is all that? And I say, that's Barbara Creed. Remember we talked about the monstrous women in our episode, the first episode of this year? Remember that, guys?
Yeah, I do remember.
I talked about
Me here
Barbara
that was here
Creed,
for
and she
that.
was great. So she had a lot to say, and she educated me. So essentially, vagina dentata is a myth that has existed in many cultures all over the world and for thousands of years. The term vagina dentata is Latin for tooth vagina. This myth suggests that a woman can castrate a man using her tooth vagina as a weapon. But you guys are like, oh, the movie. I get it.
Yeah,
She says it.
This is it.
It is suggested that the idea of the tooth vagina is to deter men from having sex with strange women and to discourage men engaging in the act of rape, which is the important part there as well. In the eyes of religion, such as Christianity, it has been used as a deterrent for people to engage in sex before marriage.
So used as an abstinence only thing. Like all vaginas have teeth in them. So like don't go there. They go away when you get married.
Yeah. Essentially, if you're married, then it's consensual and it's great in the eyes of God. And so you are this hero. You have relieved this woman of the curse of the toothed vagina. Right? The original idea was actually warped. So what we see in horror movies and in history, there's been this toothed vagina or Gorgon kind of woman. So Medusa is kind of a representation of that, as you turn to stone instead of your
Penis falling off.
being castrated. So this was actually, people think that Sigmund Freud had actually kind of started this idea, but it's actually his idea has been warped. So he originally theorized that a boy was fearful of his mother because he believed that she had the power to castrate him.
Which, I mean, any adult human does, but shouldn't.
Yeah, don't be afraid of your mother that way. But Freud's theory is different from this myth because he suggests that the fear of a mother came from the view that she herself had been castrated. So she has a vagina, which is not a penis. So the fear would be that everyone has a penis and she doesn't, so something happened to it, and that's scary, so it could happen to you.
So penis envy.
Yes, it's Freud.
Yeah.
Everything had to do with penises or having sex with your mom.
Yep.
So he said that probably no male human being is spared the terrifying shock of threatened castration at the sight of a female's genitals. So in his essentially have you ever seen that old comic where there's like two kids in like a pool or something where it's like, I'll show you yours, you show me mine kind of thing?
Yeah.
And so like they do that, and then the little girl would be like, can I touch it? And then the little boy answers like, no way, you already broke yours off. Or like, you already lost yours, because it's like,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
the
weird.
understanding. Because
Yeah.
it looks different. So they're like, what is that?
Yeah, there's literally a quote that's just like that in the Rugrats with Phil and Lil, where he's like, where is yours? Like when they all get naked.
Yeah.
They're like, Lil, what the hell? Like, what happened to yours? So it's this idea that everyone starts with a penis and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So women essentially represent the castration just by existing. Just by the fact that they don't have a penis. So when women are presented to an audience to be seemingly powerful and a threat to any males in the story, her power is usually somehow related to her sexuality, right? We've seen that. Barbara Creed talked about it, and we talked about it in Monstrous Women. Like, generally their power and comeuppance and revenge is spurred by a sexual awakening.
Yeah, puberty, having sex for the first time. Like kind of taking control of the thing that's perceived as their innocence or weakness.
Yeah. And so Barbara Barbara Creed has talked about like whenever a woman is presented as villainous or able to overpower men, she says, I will argue that when a woman is represented as monstrous, it is almost always in the relation to her mothering and reproductive functions. These faces are the archaic mother, the monstrous womb, the witch, the vampire, and the possessed woman.
Yeah.
Which we talked about. I wouldn't say this is monstrous womb, but there's also Vagina Dentata that she talks about.
Yeah.
Within film, whenever a woman is empowered by sex, she is usually the femme fatale or the villain, and her whole aim is to seduce and then castrate male victims in order to display her true power. And then for a male to overcome her and her power and to ultimately become the hero, he has to have sex with her by removing these teeth, but like in a good way, like good sex.
Yeah, which I will say does not take place in the teeth.
Nope.
So there's actually a lot of arguments against the whole femme fatale for her.
Yeah.
Because she isn't using it to assert her power. She's using it to like basically be like, hey, men that are terrible in my life, stop sexually assaulting me and raping me. Your penises are gone. Like she is still
Yeah. And
in the role where, I mean, there are people who have argued that it isn't femme fatale. Not saying that it isn't. I don't know. I'm not an expert on such things, but there's arguments against it being a feminist film versus it is or it isn't.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that in our film section. And for usually with Vagina Dentata and in like mythology, they're like this big monster and they have to be slayed via sexual intercourse where the man has the power and the woman does not. Because if she has the power, he comes away castrated. So in order to keep his manhood and disable the woman, they engage in sex. And so this idea of the New Age idea of Vagina Dentata, where it is flawed, is this idea that by using that to dissuade men to have sex, like to rape, essentially. So don't rape or you could lose your member is completely backwards.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's telling you to rape to get rid of the teeth.
Yeah.
In the mythology, if my understanding is correct, which is very messed up.
Yeah, or like
you're taking
to
away
take
her
advantage
control.
of. Yeah. And like it's backwards in that men are not going to, if a man is deemed to be inclined to rape, then telling them that their penis is going to get cut off is not the way to fix that. It's to raise boys to not have the urge to rape.
Yeah, just be like, consent is a thing. Would you want someone to do that to you? No. Mm-hmm. Do unto others that you want done to yourself. That's like one of the baseline lessons that we teach our children and should definitely just be continuously given to both genders. So it's not, don't go crazy because he might kill you.
Yeah.
Nah. It's, hey guys, it's okay to have emotions.
Yeah.
It's also good to see if someone wants to have sex with you before forcing sex upon them.
Yep. Yeah.
We are not only here for sex. We have brains. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah. I think operating in this way that you are afraid that a vagina might, castrate you should not be the main deterrent from raping. It should be, that's a person, and sex should be consensual. That should be the main deterrent from raping someone.
100%. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. I
look
feel
at
like we
us.
just made a breakthrough.
Yes.
News headlines will display this tomorrow as the day that everyone understood that was
Rape
a thing.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think vagina dentata as a whole, and in the way that Kat's going to talk about how in modern day we are kind of replicating a certain vagina dentata, is that it sadly has to happen. So in some places there's a great need for this kind of fear of castration, but it really is sadly backwards and honestly negative towards feminism and equality as a whole.
Yeah. So, as Gabe said, I was going to talk about basically the culture around rape prevention and it being in the woman's hands. So in line with that, it's not always the fear that your penis will be cut off, but essentially that there will be consequences for this action. That the person you are affecting is a person who can tell other people, but that it's also something that can be taken seriously and handled quickly. So there is Psychology Today listed the 10 best tech devices to prevent rape. And every time I typed into Google rape prevention, the first thing that came up was this thing called Athena. And it's a black silicone pendant the size of $50 that can be pinned to a purse or clothing. Even worn as a necklace with a recessed button at the center. You have the device to prevent accidental alerts because you're not trying to be oh, rape's happening all the time.
Yeah.
By accident, you don't want that to happen because then it would lose the effect of the device. But you hold it down for 3 seconds and it will trigger an alarm that's very loud and deters people from sticking around because you're an alarm is going off. That is bad. It's similar to if someone breaks into your house and you have an alarm system, it makes loud noises. They're likely not to stay.
Yeah. If your body's making loud noises.
Yeah. It's a shame that your vagina has to be the same as a house in our world. But it does.
Don't break in here.
Yeah. You would think. I don't know. So you hold it down for 3 seconds and a loud alarm goes off and immediately it notifies people in your friends or family that you assign of your current location. And if you press it 3 times in quick succession, you can send a silent alert, basically being hey, I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
Someone call me or call the police.
Yeah. There's also an app that did that when you were walking home.
Yep. I think it's called Watch Over Me.
Yeah, something like and then there's on, I think, iPhones, if you push some button rapidly, it sends an alert to certain people that you can assign.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. If it's there's an app that you can get on your phone that you hit the power button and the
down
home button or
yeah.
down button, and I'll have to everyone look it up because it's very easy to find.
Yeah.
And you hit it 3 times and it sends an alert.
And a picture, I think, and location.
Yeah. So it's definitely very useful if you're feeling unsafe while walking anywhere. I know when I went to college, the campus had an app where when you felt unsafe, you would basically walk home as you were describing something very similar, where you have your finger over a button. And if you remove your finger from the button, it immediately contacts school police with your location. So someone will come check on you.
Yeah.
And it was actually our friend Mike who told us about angel shots, wasn't it?
Yes.
So essentially, if you're at a bar and you're feeling unsafe with your date or just having a really bad time or you're just kind of feeling like something's wrong, you ask the bartender for an angel shot and they'll call you an Uber or just give you an excuse to come in the back you received a phone call.
Yeah, there's
and get you away from the person you feel unsafe around.
Yeah, there's a flyer, and it would be essentially in the female bathroom, if that's the kind of bar that you're in, that if you ask for an angel shot, there's color. So if you're like, I want a blue angel shot or a red angel shot, whatever it is, that corresponds to an action that the bartender would take. So that might mean like, oh, hey, you have a phone call, come to the back. Or it could be, there's an Uber outside for you. You can leave.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff around that exists in the world that is great for, protecting people, but also it would just be cool if they weren't needed.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yes, that would be ideal.
And I remember vividly late night TV sitting and watching like Adult Swim or something. And I know it wasn't a joke commercial. I know it wasn't because it was like it seemed very serious. I don't know if it was Adult Swim, but it was about like shorts that you could not pull down or like underwear that does not come off unless you like allow it to, which is just also a whole other wild thing where it's like you need that to prevent someone from attacking you and removing your clothing. That like as a woman, that's something you have to think about.
Yeah, I've definitely
all the time.
seen those shorts. Like there's like or the underwear that's a certain way to do it.
Yeah, that just makes it really hard to like come off of your body.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess there are ways to help prevent things on as a female perspective.
Yeah.
But I agree that we should 100% be doing it on both ends, where it's not how to not get raped. It's just, hey, like, let's not rape people because they're people.
Yeah.
People exist that aren't you, who live, breathe, and feel, and don't wish to be forced to do things that are not within their wants.
Yeah.
Freedom is a thing that we want and should have as humans, and we're people.
Yeah.
And I just feel very strongly that I shouldn't have to get shorts that don't come off without like
a special thing
time happening. Or I just shouldn't have to like worry about every single person that's walking behind me. I know just like, I feel like any woman can relate to like that walking home late at night and like feeling like someone's behind you.
Yeah.
And just like having this like, oh my God, is this the moment?
Yeah. Like you are always in danger.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's like, so in kind of the same vein of rape deterrence, there's like a literal vagina dentata that had been created. So
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, according to CNN, there's a South African doctor, Sonnet Ellers, who created essentially a toothed vagina thing that you can put in there to dissuade rape. There was her story is that someone had come in who was a devastated rape victim, and she had looked at the doctor and essentially said, if only I had teeth down there. And so she was like, okay, I from that day on had promised that she would do something about it. So she has this female condom that is given out. So it's just like inserted in there, and it has jagged rows of teeth like hooks in its inside and attaches on a man's penis during penetration. So like because it's hooks, it's like going in, and then it's like, you're stuck. And now everyone knows. Once it's...
Oh, that's like the combination of the two films.
Yeah, so essentially when it's in there, only a doctor can remove it. So not only are they, suffering for this, but now they are caught. As well. So it is like essentially the same thing as these two films kind of morphed together.
Wow.
Yeah. When it's on, they won't be, it'll hurt them. They can't pee. They can't walk. If they try to remove it, it will clasp even tighter. But it doesn't break the skin, and there's no danger of fluid exposure.
Oh, wow. So it doesn't actually...
So it won't risk that she might catch something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also won't actually chop it off. It just gets it real stuck on there.
Yeah, it gets it stuck. And essentially, like, if you go to the doctor and you have that doctor's going to know that you have engaged in this activity and should be arrested. But otherwise, you're in pain. So
Yeah.
just like your victim. So she was hoping, and I think it is, that they'll be about $2 a piece. And it's kind of just still being kind of tested, but especially in Africa where rape is very predominant and dangerous in some communities. I know people who've come from West Africa and have talked about it, and there is a drastic need. But even here in America, like you said, we live in this rape culture, and unfortunately, instead of telling men not to rape, we're telling women to dress a certain way.
Yeah.
We're having to have women become combat enforced,
Learn self-defense,
with alarms, self-defense, shorts that don't come off. You have to learn code phrases in bars because God forbid you want to get a drink with someone and not have sex with them. Wow, who knew?
Yeah, I mean, it's just really wild. I don't there's no nice conversation to have about it. I guess the biggest thing is just allowing people to be uncomfortable and just being like, you know what, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I care about not feeling unsafe. So here we are. We're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Don't rape people.
Yeah.
Simple. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anger. What's up?
Yeah, I mean...
It's the one thing I get really passionate and angry about because I think it's just necessary to. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, we have fun at this podcast. We do. But we're exploring horror films, and it would be unjust to talk about the film Teeth and not also talk about rape culture and where it stems from. So this is the reality, because this is actually this is the horror movie that women have to live every day. So you guys can sit down and listen to it and learn why, and also learn about ways to deter it, because unfortunately
that's one
we
of
don't
the
have teeth
options.
in our vaginas.
Yeah. That disappear when you actually want consensual sex.
Yeah, you control it. It's you.
Yeah. God,
That would be great. Yeah.
I definitely, middle school me was slightly worried, because this movie came out before I had anything happening down there. And I was mildly concerned that was a thing.
That you would look down there and there would be teeth?
No, that if, I ever did anything down there, teeth would be there and I would lose appendages, or, whoever was near me would, or, was actually oh, hey, you're cool.
Yeah.
Let's maybe do that. Would have that situation. I just imagined it being a very more traumatizing thing than it actually was, because I was young.
Yeah, yeah.
Too young for sex.
Too young for this film.
Yeah, too young for this film. Too young for sex. That's where I was, and I thought it was real. So
yeah. Well, Vagina Dentata.
Yeah.
In some ways, it is real.
Film. Yeah, films. Yeah, films. We watch some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff. And all that spooky stuff.
As we stated, we have watched 2 films.
sure did.
So we have a dangerous genitalia.
Uh-huh.
And we have dangerous contraceptives, because there's nothing safe. You just don't have sex because all of it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So
You will lose your genitals.
yeah, one
They're
way or the
just
other.
gone.
Either your genitals are forever changed, or they're gone and you've died.
Or you've never had a penis and you are upset about that and want to castrate people.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, Freud, I don't understand.
Stupid Freud. It's just inverted.
Yeah,
we all
what are
have
you
penises.
doing? Yeah,
What do you
everyone's
want?
got penises. We're all penises at the end of the day. So we watched Teeth, and this came out in 2007. And if you are unfamiliar, still a stranger to her own body, a high school student discovers she has a physical advantage when she becomes the object of male violence. First off, let's talk about this synopsis.
Yeah, it's not an advantage to accidentally castrate somebody while being raped.
Yeah.
That was an unbelievably horrific and
It was
traumatizing
traumatizing.
event. That was not an advantage. She's still traumatized from the event. If anything, she's just more traumatized.
Yeah.
She was already raped at that point.
Yep.
And now that guy's dead. Spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry. Spoilers. He's dead. And then she had to, like, this guy she really liked is dead now.
Yeah.
And his penis is gone. And she sees crabs touching it and shit. Like,
Yeah.
oof.
It's just, yeah, it definitely is for someone who...
Male perspective.
So essentially it's this young girl who is... You know, she has a promise ring. She's very, she believes very strongly in abstinence. She lives in this little, very quaint home right next to a nuclear power plant, which is important because it's probably why she is mutated. When you open on the film, there's this eerie kind of happy music that felt very Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands. And, like, I was just expecting every house to be this, like, crazy colors or something like Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah.
And it starts with two kids in a pool, and the little boy touches her. So we're kind of like given that comic in a way.
Yeah.
Except this kid is malicious in that he's taking advantage of this little girl, and he's the worst throughout the whole film. It's also important that there's a notice for the film in that no man was harmed in the making of it.
Yes.
That's important to know.
Yeah. No penises were actually removed. Even the dog was treated kindly because there is a scene later on in the film, spoilers, where the brother's penis is cut off by Dawn, the main character, and the dog eats it. And they made it so that the piercing was made of sugar so that it would not harm the dog when he ate it.
Good baby. Yeah, and, you know, Dawn, who is now the Dawn of new female, she's the new monstrous femme, she's super sweet, and she had this whole plan, and she falls in love with this boy who she believes gets her, and they have feelings. And I thought it was kind of weird because she has friends who are a couple.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's impossible to be a couple and still have promise rings because she is seeing that. But for some reason, it's like, it's just forbidden to even kiss him. And he immediately just like goes for her breasts and just is like, and then I think, so when the rape happens, essentially there's the first rape scene, there's many.
Yeah, in the film.
There's
more than
lot.
one,
Yeah,
which is one too many.
Yes. It's all too many.
Yeah.
So she falls in love with this boy. They have this kind of romantic thing where they're like making out and he's pushing her forward. But when she like pushes him away, his retort is that he hasn't even masturbated. And it's like, that's not her fault. And that doesn't mean she owes you anything because you like, that's how messed up they already are. So there's like, and it, I don't know. I felt like, even though she is the protagonist and like as a woman you're watching it and you're like, okay, she's like kind of fighting back, I felt very strongly that this was not in any way a feminist film, and that it was that the men were, even as gross as they were portrayed, were always kind of like victimized.
Yeah, and they were not victims. This woman was definitely a victim the entire way through.
Yeah.
Like, even when she's, like, kind of taking charge, it still feels like, oh, God, this poor girl has this problem with her vagina. And, like, the first 3 people she killed were accidents. She did one on purpose, and that's because he molested her
and
as a
resulted
kid.
in her mother dying, essentially.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I would kill him too, probably. I don't know. I've never murdered a person, but if it was killing my mom or letting my mom die and molesting me, I feel like I'd be on par and ready to go to, like, murder that person.
I think the castration of the first boy...
She didn't even murder him. She just castrated him. I'm sorry. It's still,
he died because he didn't take it and, like, whatever. The problem with it for me was that we didn't get a chance to really make him the villain. Because he immediately became a victim, and then he, like, falls away, and then he's gone, and he has died. And now she's forever unchanged, right? But it's like, we never really got a chance to be like, he never got to walk around and have to deal with the fact that he's a rapist.
Yeah.
He never had to do that. She had to deal with the fact that she had hurt him, instead of dealing with the fact that he had hurt her.
Yeah.
Immediately, we have already messed it up. Like, well, this can't be a feminist film.
Yeah, and there's actually a woman who writes about that. Alexandra Heller Nicholas devoted an entire chapter of her book Rape Revenge Films, a critical study, and basically agrees with us that this is not a feminist film. And it says, just because you're making a movie about a monstrous feminine doesn't mean you get a free pass into the feminine horror film canon. Teeth is a great concept for a film, but the final product feels less concerned about women and their bodies than it does about what women's bodies can do to men.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It's not, in no way does she feel like she's owning it. And it's kind of the same way with like things like Jennifer's Body. When you become a monstrous femme, and your sex is what is destroying men, you're becoming the villain. And that's a problem because that shouldn't be what is happening when you have sex. That shouldn't be what empowers you, is that you destroy men and make them victims. No one should be victims. We should all be equal and have sex, and it's fun.
Yeah, and it's just continuing that idea that men don't have control. That sex is this thing where they cannot control themselves and therefore become vulnerable in that state. It's like, no, you definitely have control over yourself. It's not the woman's fault.
Yeah.
It's you are a person. Be a person. Just exist.
Yeah.
It's not anyone else's fault that you're the way that you are.
Yeah, it's definitely that boys will be boys, men will be men. Like, rape is inevitable. Therefore, we have to have teeth in our vagina. Like, we have to physically adapt. Like, our bodies have been so threatened for years that it has evolved to the point where now we are the monstrous femme. Like, that's absurd.
That's insane.
And this director, so apparently he had apologized for the second rape scene, in which this other boy drugs Dawn and then proceeds to use a vibrator on her, and then like they engage in sex. But she is drugged.
Yeah, and it's like supposed to seem consensual, but it's not, because she was drugged. She was basically the equivalent of being roofied, like drugged, and then made naked and like assaulted sexually, and then she just wakes up and is like, all right, I guess I'm cool with this now that it's already happening without my control, and like isn't in the right state of mind because she's on drugs.
And I would argue that, honestly, this is the third rape scene, because right before that, she goes to the gynecologist to get a checkup, and that doctor proceeds to violate her. He's 100%. Like in there. One, he takes off his glove. And then he's just in there. I don't know what he's doing in there, but his whole hand is in there. This is her first time. Everyone knows that first time. If you are a woman and you go to the gynecologist for the first time and you've got to get a pap smear, it is the most traumatizing thing for the first time, because it's like everything's new, everything's weird, nothing should be down there like that. What are you doing? Everything's cold. And then you have this man down there who's like, and she doesn't know. As soon as she says this is her first time, you see him change.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, well, she won't know this.
She doesn't know the difference. Yeah, because he's like, you're going to feel a pinch or whatever, and you just have to like grit your teeth and go through it. And she's like, I can't. This is horrible. And then, of course, she feels threatened. So then her teeth chomp down onto his fingers. So she was already molested and violated, runs to this boy's house because no one understands, and he's supposed to be a friend, and he drugs her. She told him that she murdered 2 people, and he drugs her.
Yeah, it was just this movie was just a whole time that was just absolutely like insane, but like all the men are just the worst, and it's mind-blowing. The fact that there are 2 definite rape scenes, 1 at least sexual assault scenes, but arguably maybe even 3 rape scenes, is just like way too many rape scenes for a movie. Mm-hmm. It's usually, there shouldn't be any rape scenes for a movie. Yeah. But... or
life, anything.
Or just like ever. But the fact that there are 3, and then 1 is honestly argued to not be, like in its form, you're supposed to be okay with it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a triumph because she has sex. And it's like a character turn because she realizes that she can control it at this point.
Yeah.
But this is like way late in the movie. And also, so... the idea of vagina dentata is that it is used as a weapon against men, and the female tries to trick the male into having sex with him, and then this gives her the opportunity to castrate him, right? Yeah. So it's like, at the end, she does use this, but throughout most of the film, we see the opposite. She, in the majority of the film, is not a femme fatale at all. She is just very much a victim, and it just happenstance. And it's like, she was this like beautiful abstinence flower, right? Who believed in
Who
like
didn't even know what a
saving her.
vagina looked like,
Yeah.
or like ever touched it. She has no idea.
Yes. She wouldn't touch her own. Like in the school, they have sex ed and they show the books and they show the penis and then they flip the page and all the vaginas have this big sticker on it so you can't see and it's by the board. And so she actually has an argument in class that the reason why they probably did this is because women are, told to be modest and they're not supposed to show those things. And everyone laughs at her. But yeah, that's exactly, I'm sure, what the school board is thinking. Like, yeah, we can show the penis. Everyone can see that. Boys will be boys. They probably just whipping them out everywhere anyway.
And women need to be ready to see a penis.
Yeah.
Because like...
Danger.
Yeah. Or like, honestly, like your job, your only point in existence is to see this penis and take care of it. Lots of problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
You also need to know what, like, they should know. It's basically saying women's happiness ever does not matter. That's what I take it as.
Yeah. And it's like you have to hide this because it's not to be seen until she's already married and it's like, it's too late. Like you just have it and that's
It's just meant to push out babies. You like, it doesn't need to be taken care of or like pleased in any way. Just babies. Yeah.
And honestly, had she been able to do her abstinence and wait till she was married, like have her like chastity belt essentially, she would have, when she got married, would have had consensual sex and probably would have never known that she had teeth. Yeah. Ever.
Yeah.
And so it literally are these like rapes that have to force her to become the monster. That's absurd.
It's just very, and I mean, you see this kind of a lot, honestly, in Monstrous Women, where a rape scene or like an assault is what makes them into who they become. Like you saw that in American Mary, where it was like she was doing stuff, but like she wasn't trying to murder people until that happened. Yeah, until she was raped. So
Jennifer's
it's like,
body. Yeah, that was a literal representation of someone changing after rape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
you should be able to murder without being raped. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
You should murder anyway, but like you get my idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It shouldn't be your driving factor. Because no one should be doing rape and no one should be driven to murder because of rape. But yeah, that's teeth. To lighten the mood just a little bit, we're gonna switch gears over to Killer Condom.
Yeah.
So this was from 1996. And you guys were probably like, okay, you guys keep talking about Vagina Dentata. You talked about spiky condoms. So what is Killer Condom? Well, let me tell you. So the plot takes place in New York and in the present, right? This is what's important. It's supposed to be the present. It's definitely like future worldly, very Blade Runner-y. It starts in a hotel called Quickie. I wonder what happens there.
Oh, tell me.
Where a professor is blackmailing a student of his into having sex with him.
Yes.
He's saying like, I'll put up your grade. I've always wanted to touch you, whatever. And she's very clearly distressed. This is how it starts, right? But when the professor puts on a condom, the carnivorous condom bites off his penis and disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, luckily, Detective Macaroni is on the case. So Detective Macaroni is a gay man who frequents this hotel to engage with other gay people.
Yes.
It's straight, like, it's both a secret and not a secret for him. So he has a lot of back and forths with an old police officer who is now like a drag queen. Mm-hmm. So formerly Bob, now Bobette, who is in love with him and is like clearly knows him well and has talked to him. He takes this pretty young boy up and they're going to engage in sex. And the young boy's like, I have my own condom. You don't have to use the condoms that aren't even in packages that are just here in the bedside table. Let's use that. And then they clearly realize like immediately that something's weird. And, also Detective Macaroni, Luigi Macaroni, who is Italian.
Yes.
Just so everyone knows, has a giant penis.
Yeah. This is mentioned important. 1,000,000 times how big his penis is. I think they actually say how many centimeters it is.
It was like, he said
It was
like
in the 20s.
30,
It was like,
I thought it was like 32. It was absurd.
it was 32 or 22 centimeters. It's a bunch of
crazy.
centimeters for a penis to be. And you're just like, oh my God, that would hurt somebody.
Yep. But so excited. My thing was with Billy. So this is the young man that he's engaging with, who is a sex worker. He isn't exactly like excited that his penis is so large. He's more excited that he's a cop. He thinks that's cool.
Yeah.
That was his favorite part, which I thought was kind of cute.
Yeah.
But the condom is loose and doesn't get his giant penis, although it's like a huge target. Instead, it bites off one of his balls.
Yeah.
And so he's like, there's a murderous condom running around in this hotel and no one believes him.
Because I don't think anyone would. It doesn't make sense, honestly. I think what really got me about like the first scene is the student when she's being interrogated, because everyone's just assuming that she castrated him because of like what happened. And she's like, is sex always like that?
Yeah.
And I was just like, huh?
Yeah, because she's a little baby. She has no idea.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Killer Condom, man. There was a time.
The fact that this takes place in the Quickie Hotel, so this is where either sex is happening non-traditionally, so not in like a husband and a wife situation. So we're having people who are having affairs. We have people who are old men taking advantage of young women, and then we also have like homosexual and gay affairs as well, because they can't just have a home to go have sex in. So it's here. The fact that the condom starts here is very important because it was targeted, because our villain, spoiler, is just this religious fanatic who thinks that she needs to punish people for essentially do God's work, and punish these people who are being bad by engaging in sex that isn't what she thinks sex should be. Yeah.
And it's like religious fanaticism, and like for some reason the Russians cut off the president's penis with the killer condoms. It's a whole thing.
Because he was corrupt, yeah.
It's just really wild. Yeah. So it's very long. Mm-hmm. You think it's over, and then there's just a whole other movie.
Yeah. Because we essentially, the part that we thought it was over was because Detective Luigi Macaroni finally decides love is right. He talks about how he craves warmth, but that's not for him. He's a rugged cop who doesn't know how to care. But Billy just somehow gets him. This, beautiful young boy gets him. So they, are now dating. And they have this really crazy sex scene in an elevator that takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah, then the elevator breaks. And they kill the killer condom. They kill the one. They think that there's only one, and they kill it. And he thinks life is great and it's over and la da da. And I also think life is great and it's over, la da da. It's been an hour and a half. I think the movie's over. So then it just keeps going.
Yep, because
and then there's
surprise, there's condoms everywhere. It's like Flubber is an experiment, and it's just bouncing all over the place, and it's jumping on people. It got on this one lady's nose, who's a foreigner, and she somehow solves the case. We were in and out watching this film.
Because it's in a different language, and you can't multitask if you don't know the language.
Yes.
So I mean, it was definitely an interesting time. I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend it to anybody. It was weird.
Yeah.
And also it was just like, I felt it was portraying itself as a modern film. It's from 1996, so its idea of what the present is very different than what the present is now. I think that's important.
We are shown that it's not just gay men, right? We see the president, or the potential president. I think he's running for office.
Yeah.
And other people, when it gets kind of released to the rest of the public, that it's anyone can get attacked. But at the beginning, the cops aren't doing anything because it's just homosexual men who are being attacked. Yeah. And they're not important. They did it to themselves. What are they doing in Quickie Hotel, right? I don't know exactly what they're trying to get across with that. I mean, they have this really big reveal at the end. They have like a big, he has like a 10 minutes long speech.
Yeah, and it's like the best part of the whole film, honestly. He has like a whole lovely little speech where he's like, one, there aren't any condoms in heaven, Dr. Riffelson, nor any that bite.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, no, that's right. It's not your job to do God's work. Like,
Yeah.
if he's going to judge us, he'll do that when we're dead.
Yeah.
Or they'll do that when we're dead.
Yeah.
It's
Whoever
not
it is.
your job to do that.
It's
not
definitely
your
like
job.
2 hours to get to like this big moment, but that's essentially real. It's just like, you know, like he without
Love's
sin
love,
cast the
man.
first stone, essentially. Yeah, love is love. Who are you to judge? Don't, you know, hurt us for that.
Yeah, and it's
for
like,
loving.
you don't know. God could be totally for it. Like, it's not your job. Stop making
Yeah.
killer condoms.
Yes, stop doing that. All right,
Because you're
everyone
wrong. Like, you're doing all the sins. You're killing everybody, and you're removing their things.
Yeah.
And there was this whole long dialogue about the fact that he has a very large penis
Yeah.
and how, like, he
They had
should
to
be
get a
using that
magnum
to
killer. Impregnate women.
women. And the fact that he's not is why, like, it should be
Yeah.
eaten off like crazy.
God didn't intend it, and they had to get him a magnum killer condom.
Yeah, they had to, like, grow a special one just for
It's
him.
Giant dong. We talked about killer condom when we talked about the one that was made by the South African doctor, but that's different because that one, that's not killer. 2, it does not have a mind of its own and make weird little like skittery animal noises and just like pop around and it's just like and, like
so
attaches to your penis and
weird.
bites it. That's
It
not
was so
what the
weird.
rape preventative does.
It's not, there's no rape preventative message at all. It's literally just like, oh, you're trying to actually, like, consensually have sex.
Yeah.
We're going to eat your penis off.
Yeah. I mean, it's also this idea that, like, the fact that the film opens up with that situation with the professor taking advantage of the student and then followed by the gay couple leads me to believe that they're trying to equate those two,
Yeah.
which is incorrect.
Yeah. 100%.
Those are not
Love
correct.
is love. Let love be.
Yeah, and no rape. The professor was raping. The gay couple, they were having sex. Those
Yeah.
are two different things.
Consensual times. It's the
So-
whole time.
It was definitely all the time. This film, no one needs to watch it, but I mean, if you're into some weird stuff, I think it would be kind of funny to watch with a bunch of people.
It's
but
funny.
It's very hard to like really focus on it because it is in a different language, and it's like really, it doesn't take itself seriously, which I think it's totally the right move.
Yeah, I'm
considering
happy it didn't take itself
the
too
villain is
seriously
a-
because I feel like you would be like, what is this?
It's just literally a condom with teeth on it, and like just hops around and like it looks like a slug.
And, like, it got real gross for a minute. Like, I was trying to eat food and I was like, why?
Yeah.
And I'd say both films, like, showed the severed penises.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just real out there.
They
But didn't
did,
show
yeah.
the vagina teeth. There's a big sticker over that, so.
Yeah, we weren't allowed. We did see a diagram of a regular vagina at one point when she pulls it off. But,
Yeah.
yeah. No vagina, plenty of tits, plenty of penises, plenty of
Just, like,
disembodied
Disembodied
penises.
penises. I feel like if you have a penis, it should be on your body and you shouldn't be raping people. And that's just kind of where I'm at with life.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings. Let's talk about feelings. Okay. And all that spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
All right, if you like it, it's angel shots.
Yes.
So remember, those are the shots you can ask for in the bar. If the bartender knows what that is, there should be a notice. If you like it. If you don't like it, there are no killer condoms in heaven. There's not. There's no condoms in heaven. Especially no killer condoms.
Yeah, because there's no sexually transmitted diseases. You can just be like, oh, life is great. Happy times.
Yeah.
Consent.
Yeah. No one's raping anyone in heaven. We're in the good place.
Right now? I don't know.
No, I mean that's what happens when you're up there. You're in the good place.
Cool,
If
cool,
rape
cool.
happens, you're in the bad place, and you messed up. For the topic of vagina dentata and the other various rape preventatives, I'm going to say there are no killer condoms in heaven
Yeah, I'm with you.
because it's wrong. It's all wrong. All of it's
Yeah.
wrong. None of it's empowering. None of it's a good story. Freud, you were incredibly wrong. Not everyone wants to have sex with their mom. Someone should be talking to you. Someone should have sat him down and been like, you can't just say that everyone has this to make sense of your own issues. You can't be like, Oh, it's
So
totally
many
normal
people were like
that I'm
about
weird.
it though, is what's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's so messed up. Everything was a penis, and he didn't get it, and he just wanted an excuse for his own behavior. And essentially, the Vagina Dentata is making an excuse for all of the raping men's behavior.
I did not enjoy. I mean, I like learning about it, but it wasn't a good time.
Yeah, I think it was very interesting.
Yeah.
And hearing like its origin and also reading about Freud and stuff, I was like, that's all a very interesting stance that I never would have gathered from one, watching that movie, but also just from like life. I can't say that I've ever thought about tooth vaginas. Now it's here forever in my brain.
Yep.
What about teeth and Killer Condom?
Same. There aren't any killer condoms in heaven. It was just, I mean, I kind of liked Teeth. I thought it was interesting. But both movies were just very traumatizing to witness.
Yeah.
And like, I just didn't like it. Like, it was just, I agree that it was not a feminist film.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing a lot of like real messed up stuff happening to this like innocent little baby. And you can't stop it because you're watching a movie and it's awful.
There were no good men in that film except for her father. You know, I just feel like, honestly, it didn't fit in the script. But I feel like if there was time, he would have been right in there with it.
I feel like
it was
also
the world that she exists in is absurd. That's how people react and are so confused. That world sounds awful. Like, our world is not great. But I would venture to say that it's not as dire as hers was. She really got dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, it was a very stressful time. And I'd say all the films we watched were very stressful. The information was very stressful, but like not in the good kind of stressful way. It was just like, ooh.
Killer Condom was just, I'm actually really glad that I stumbled upon it.
Oh yeah,
I was
I'm happy we watched it. It was just awful at the
looking
same
for
time.
like dangerous sex horror movies.
We find the most fun things.
Yeah, this is our don't have sex episode, so I had to figure out a reason why you guys can't have sex, and that's why. Either you're going to be raped and there's teeth in there, or you're using contraceptive and you're trying to protect yourself and it eats you. So either way, castration.
We watch just like the best stuff for this podcast. And
you're welcome.
It's so you don't have to. So you're welcome. Also, kudos to Amy Hawes who made the Vagina Dentata song on YouTube. Because that was fun.
It was fun. I did want to do a shout out over to Joyce Kremer from the Netherlands, who sent us a really sweet email.
Yeah, I showed my mom.
Yeah, I showed mine too. It, really made our day. So Joyce, if you're out there, you're listening to this episode, we want to say thank you. We appreciate it. We do put a lot of work in here. So it's good to know that someone is listening and that they are getting something out of it. I hope this didn't deter you from listening further. Our next episode is going to be fun. It will also still scare you in regards to sex, but there will be some happiness, I promise, at the end of this tunnel. But it is, it's February. We're talking about romance gone wrong. We're talking about the dangers of sex. So, we're going to talk about It Follows and some other...
my favorite movie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some really, really good stuff. So stay tuned for this episode. And definitely, if you haven't already, drop us a rating on iTunes. Leave us a comment. You can email us the way that Joy did, either through our website, or you can just shoot us an email at the ghoulsnextdoor@gmail.com.
Yeah, please do. It made our day. I just want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
We'll show your email to our moms. Yeah. The moms next door will know.
Yeah, moms next door know anytime something good happens. So thank you for listening. And don't get married. They'll eat your kids.
Don't get married. Bye.
Or you'll get castrated and then you can't have any kids.
Yeah.
Well, I guess... Yeah.
Well, no, it's telling you to get married because otherwise you get castrated.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Get married, then have kids. Ah, dang. Then they'll eat them. Do not, just don't.
Just don't have sex because either way kids get eaten or penises get cut off. So bye.
Yeah, abstinence till you die. Okay, bye.
Woo.